Hi everybody, welcome back. Fit Fanny here, and today I will be sharing with you 5 things that have already changed in my life since starting 75 Hard Challenge. Today is day 11 for me, so I'm past the initial sort of, honeymoon period, and I'm into the nitty-gritty of things, and I'm really excited to keep going. So, number one, first thing is morning breakfast. So this might not be that shocking or surprising to most people, but I typically didn't eat breakfast before beginning 75 Hard. For me, breakfast was almost an inconvenience. I would typically make a coffee and drink that on the go, and I wouldn't worry about eating anything until lunch or early afternoon. Since I started 75 Hard, I've been extremely focused on nutrition and making sure that I'm fueling myself throughout the day, because I need a lot of energy to do 2 45-minute workouts in a day, and that begins with starting off with a nourishing breakfast. The other part of this pivot, is that I was, to some degree, for a while at least, experimenting with intermittent fasting. And I do think that intermittent fasting can be a great solution for some people, and I could even see myself experimenting with it again in the future. But for me and for this challenge, it seems to have been working out the best for me to get up and to fuel myself right away. Now, if I'm planning on doing a first thing workout, I would probably work out first and then eat, just because I do struggle to eat before working out. If I have a full stomach, I don't feel great for working out. And I often don't feel that hungry in the morning. And so going through a workout first does help me feel hungry enough that I want to eat something. The other thing is what I eat. Part of the problem with eating in the morning for me is that I don't like how it feels in my stomach. I feel heavy, I feel sluggish, kind of feel like I'm weighed down. And so for the 75 Hard Challenge, I have been having smoothies for breakfast. And they're pretty heavy duty smoothies because they have a lot of protein and fiber. And a certain degree of fat, but I think because they are easily digestible, lots of fruits and veggies, it is not making me feel weighed down or bogged down like heavier breakfasts sometimes can. The second change beyond becoming a breakfast person for me is that I am now much better about eating the frog. What do I mean by eating the frog? Well, there's this philosophy that you should eat the frog first. Get your yuckiest thing out of the way first thing in the morning, or do your most challenging task right away so you don't have to worry about it for the rest of the day. Am I actually eating frog? No, I'm vegan. But what I am doing is I'm trying much harder to make sure that I begin checking things off of my to-do list right away. So the first thing I do after going to the bathroom is I start drinking water. And I start thinking about my nutrition, and I start plotting out my exercises if I'm not right away starting to exercise. And I'm really trying to be as organized as I can to get as many things done early in the day as possible. If you've watched any of my other videos, you've seen that hasn't been a perfect solution every day. And it's not like I can say, voila, I've completely, perfected this aspect of my life. But what I'm definitely doing is thinking about it more. So rather than leaning into my procrastination tendencies, I'm pushing myself to do the things I need to do early in the morning so that I can get them out of the way and move on. So what this looks like is really trying to proactively drink as much water as I can earlier in the day, so I don't have to be chugging a bunch of it right before I go to bed at night. In some of my other videos, I've talked about trying to read earlier in the day so that I'm not struggling to stay awake to get through my 10 pages at night, or trying to get my at least one workout done first thing or early in the day so that I'm not struggling to find ways to weave 2 workouts in later in the day. So that front loading frees me up, it keeps my stress a little bit lower, and overall helps me be more organized. Number 3 is I am no longer, a fair weather exerciser. For most of my life, I have avoided exercising outdoors or even being outdoors if the weather isn't great. And I live in a part of the world where the weather changes dramatically throughout the year and can even change dramatically within one day. we have snow, we have rain, we have sleet, we have extremely hot, humid weather, we have extremely hot, dry weather, we have everywhere in between. And for me, that mostly looks like I either don't work out on bad weather days or I just do my workouts indoors. But with the 75 Hard Challenge, we have to work out at least one time per day. On the very first day of this challenge, I already had to go for a run outside, which is not my norm. I probably wouldn't have done it if it weren't for this. I shouldn't say probably. I know I wouldn't have done it if it weren't for the 75 Hard Challenge. And now, I play volleyball a few nights a week. Usually when it's raining, I'm kind of hoping that it gets canceled. These days, I hope that it doesn't get canceled because I need that second outdoor workout. If the volleyball game gets canceled because of the weather, then I'm gonna have to work outside doing something else anyway. So I might as well play volleyball outside with friends in the bad weather. Now, what I will say is I don't encourage anybody to do something unsafe. We have had a lot of thunder and lightning storms here recently. I wouldn't encourage somebody to go for a run, for example, in a lightning storm. But my solution, and luckily I haven't had to do it yet, is to work out on my porch. So I'm still outside, but I'm covered up from some of the hazards. It's not winter here, but if it were winter, it would be really hard for me to go for a run, for example, in the winter snow. I've fallen on the ice and I've injured my back in the past, which has laid me up for a long time, and I don't want that to happen again. So luckily for me, I'm not in that phase of the year right now. But if you are living in some place where there is bad weather, snowy weather, make sure that you're taking care of yourself and finding safe and healthy ways to work out outside. But for me, I'm very proud to say that I now enjoy working out outside, even if it's raining, even in the hot humidity, because I know that I'm accomplishing my goal. I'm building trust with myself and I'm following through with my 75 Hard Challenge. Change number 4 is bringing a lot more intention to my day-to-day life. Being my day, I should say, with intention. What that looks like for me is when I wake up first thing in the morning, rather than laying in bed and thinking, I have to go to the bathroom because I drank so much yesterday, or I have to get up and work out, or it's gonna be another crummy day of weather, or crummy day of work, or crummy day of whatever, I wake up excited because I have 75 Hard Challenge ahead of me and I know that it's going to be a great day as I continue to follow through and accomplish my goals. So when I wake up, I'm excited to think about what I have ahead of me. I'm excited for that first drink of water. I'm excited for my delicious smoothie, and I'm excited to see how I continue to achieve my goals throughout the day. The second half of that is to be really thoughtful as I wind down at the end of the day. I'm often extremely tired from the workout, from the heat and humidity where I am. I'm proud of myself for the work that I've done. And even if I am really tired, I reflect on how hard I've worked. I reflect on how proud I am of myself. And I reflect on how I'm getting stronger, how I'm building that relationship with myself and becoming more consistent. It also helps that I tend to wind down at the end of the night reading a book about consciousness that I'm really enjoying. And following that, as I'm dozing off, I am typically doing some meditation. And that also helps me to finalize my day with a degree of intention. So bringing that additional mindfulness, bringing that additional intention setting, bringing that positive attitude has really helped me. And it doesn't mean that I'm not still cranky or I never have a bad attitude or have a bad day. It just means that I'm trying to focus on the positive, be grateful for all of the things that I do have, and be proud of my accomplishments, even on days when things go less than perfectly. And the fifth change, number 5, what has changed for me already throughout is really being much more aware of logistics. I feel like typically when I don't have so many pieces that I have to keep track of, I tend to lose little bits and pieces of time throughout the day, whether it's scrolling on my phone, whether it's, just getting caught up in other activities. And I've even had a little bit of this during 75 Hard, but when every day requires 2 45-minute workouts, requires pretty intentional eating and drinking throughout the day, it has really helped me to structure my day in a positive way around the things that I need to accomplish. And I feel confident that as I am returning to the office, that things will be equally successful given the structure of, I know that these are the only times today when I'm going to be able to work out, so I'm going to have to just do that. I think that not that every moment of our day should be cram-packed full, and not that there should never be opportunities for choice and for free flow and seeing what comes up, but I do find that logistics have really been front of mind with me. However, now that I've been in it for 11 days, those logistics are starting to step back, and I'm finding myself just naturally doing the things that I need to do. So rather than having to be so on top of thinking, okay, and when do I have to do this? And when do I have to do that? I am much more naturally now just doing those things, which feels great. It's like my body knows what it needs to do, and it's more and more on autopilot than it has been in the past, which I'm grateful for, because not as much of my conscious brain has to be on top of this. My body is just starting to flow with this process, and I'm excited to see how that carries over beyond things are done. You know, after 75 days, maybe some of these positive habits that have been building through 75 hard will continue. And of course, that's kind of the whole point of it. I want that self-trust, I want that self-accountability and that self-love to continue, but maybe some of the other things like the drinking and like the health and the exercise will continue on. So those are the 5 things that I have noticed already in 11 days of 75 hard. I still have 64 days to go. I'm sure there will be lots of other revelations, lots of other things that come up for me as I go through this process. And I'm excited to see what comes up next. For any of you who have done 75 hard, I'm curious to hear what unexpected changes came in your life. And if you're thinking about doing this, I hope that some of these examples for me might be inspiring to you, even if you might have a completely different experience on your 75 hard journey. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you for following along on this journey with me, and I will see you tomorrow.